All right, he's our guy, Patrick Reusse, and he has the Harry Carey look rocking this
I
morning. He's
do,
got
man.
the.
I do.
You look like Will Ferrell's impersonation of Harry
Yes,
Carey right now.
yes, yes. The Will's over the top impersonation of him. It's pretty great. One of the thrills of my life was getting overserved with Harry a couple of times.
Oh my gosh.
It was always
Was it
always.
during the sixth inning of a game in which he was working, or was it after the game?
Well, I've seen him out of shape, but that during the games, that's for sure. But no, it was in the Twins room, and then one afternoon there was a night game, and I wanted to do a column on him for Sunday, and we hit all the bars in Bloomington getting ready for the game while I was interviewing him during the day, including the scoreboard. Little 3-2 joint out there in Bloomington. That was the first place basically in town to have cable. And we went in there and watched the Cubs game. He was the White Sox guy, and he was very upset that the White Sox weren't on. And I said, well, two things, Harry. You don't have a cable outlet, and you're here now. The White Sox aren't playing. That's another reason why it's the Cubs games on, not your game on. You have a game tonight, Harry.
That's right.
Okay.
Amazing.
So anyhow, the quite a comeuppance for our fellas last night in the barn, man. Oof, that Illinois team. They were rated 11 in the country when it started, and then they got beat a couple of times early, back to back, I think, by Marquette and Cincinnati. Kofi was out for a little bit. He missed 3 games because he sold some merchandise a month basically before the NIL came in, name, image, and likeness. So they suspended him for 3 games. But he is a beast. The last year against the Gophers, he had 33 and 22, and they beat him bloody both times. And last night he had 29. He gets the ball 4 feet from the basket. You're Eric Curry or Charlie Daniels. You got no hope. He's pretty impressive, that's for sure.
What do we think? Do we think it was just a fun first 10 or 11 games, or do you think? I mean, they got smoked last night. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think Ben Johnson has actually put something together here, and last night was just one of those
Oh, I
games?
think you're going to see him remain very spunky, and if Jamison Battle and Peyton Willis can do something, to get away from the defense. But the problem beyond Kofi, the problem you saw last night is everybody is going to go after Willis and battle hard. They're two offensive players with some experience, and if you take those two guys away, whew, then you're counting on guys from New Hampshire to win the game for you. And I was looking at the Big Ten schedule. You go to Indiana, they got two big guys, and you just go through the next 4 or 5 games, and I don't know who they're going to beat. You just look at it, and these teams are, what are they going to do when they play Purdue? And they got the guy who's 7'4" and his backup is 6'11", and they can play them both at the same time. They're just undersized and thin on manpower. They'll be plucky and maybe win 6 Big Ten games, but they're not gonna they're going to get worn down too. And what happens is the first time somebody sprains an ankle, and
Yeah.
then they don't have any players. Last night they got 13 minutes out of Will Ramberg, who was from Grand Marais High School, and then played at McGill University in Montreal, where he was not a starter. now, now he's here playing. Last night is the trying to give help on Kofi Cockburn. It's they're a little thin. They have played extremely well, and that Michigan team that they beat on the road has gone in the tank completely. So I don't know. I would guess if you could tell them they'd be 6-14 in the Big Ten, they'll be very happy because the Big Ten's tough again. The tops in like Rutgers is better than people thought, and it's not going to be easy.
That looked like a small crowd too.
It was terrible. It was they announced 10, I think, but I mean, it got a little better as the night progressed, but it was by the time everybody got settled in, and that wasn't that many people, the the game, the issue was decided. So it was hard to get much enthusiasm. As I said, it was a late arriving, early leaving crowd. It was,
The Dodger crowd.
they were bailing out with 8 minutes to go, and well, the Gophers had a little. They held them without a point for like 5.5 minutes, and cut it to 7, and had a turnover, but they went down and missed at the other end, and that was the only sign of life. And then it's 41-30 at halftime. Gopher scores 6 points in the first 11 minutes of the second half, and Illinois comes out and gets the first 9 points, and it's 20-20, and you might as well get up and leave then. So
no. Hey, since we're on the subject of Gophers here, I threw this out to these guys a couple days ago. I think PJ Fleck has become, and again, this is a low bar to clear, but I think he has become the best Gophers football coach since Murray Warmath. Is that a hot take?
I think so, because at this point in his career, we probably thought the same thing about Mason, right? Didn't we? I mean, because his years 3, 4, 5 were pretty good.
If you took him through like 2003 when they won 10 games,
you got to remember he didn't have a Big Ten West. He was playing everybody. He was playing Michigan every year, and there was. You didn't have the automatic. I don't think. Did they have 12 games when he first came? I'm not sure.
I think they had 11 when he first arrived, and very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, Mason was close. The trouble is they never really. They were pretty good. One thing I remember saying about Mason when he first got here was they play much better defense than they did with Wacker. They were starting to play some defense, and then their defense just went. The last 4 or 5 years there was just, their defense was to hold the ball on offense when they're running with the running game, because their defense just went in the tank. I would say that what he's got going for him is he's getting linemen, and the Gophers. It's been a long time since they've had pretty good defensive linemen the last 2 or 3 years, and they've had really good offensive linemen. Now he's got to put that offensive line back together. It's funny that Quinn Carroll is coming back. 3 years ago, he was verbally and abused. Gopher Hole hated him because he pulled the hat on Notre Dame on Randy Shaver's show, and he was a terrible human being.
Half-hour show. It was like a special.
We would never
3 commercial breaks. I think Jim Gray was in there co-hosting it too.
It was the decision part 2.
Yes.
And
the Boys and Girls Club kids are sitting there.
And people were saying these vile things about him, and now they're celebrating his return. He never really broke through at Notre Dame. I think he was a listed second team on that depth chart for about 4 games, but he didn't play a lot down there. And then, in fact, the guy he was listed behind this year is the alt kid from Minnesota as a freshman. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure it was a mutual agreement. Good place for him to come, because the Gophers are looking for offensive linemen after losing 4 starters. And we'll forgive him if he blocks somebody. We'll forgive him for pulling a hat on Randy's show. He's got, somebody said 3 years of eligibility.
Yep, that's what was in the story. 3 years.
He's a red shirt.
You can play forever.
3 years.
You can play forever. Let's just get past.
Here's the good one. I was talking to Spencer last night. By the way, Spencer's skinny. Spencer could look like
he lost a ton of weight a couple of years ago and looks good.
He still looks good. But Spencer told me Eric Curry could play another season.
Yeah.
This is year 6.
How is that possible? He's like 30.
Year 6.
Because once COVID hit, they're like, just keep playing.
You should be able to. They should do like the NFL. You should be able to franchise tag 2 players.
But Eric's going to have to say, no, I'm not going to do it again.
Eric's going to have to retire because of old age, Pat. He's literally going to have to say, I'm too old to play this game now.
I'm 25, 26. I got to get on with my life here. Plus, you got me inside at 6'9", playing this beast. by myself with no double team. I'm not doing that again. The hell with you. But
do you know what's Pat? What's too bad is that Sid missed transfers. Because the transfer portal and Sid, my God, we could have had a whole new form of in-column recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
Like he could have re-recruited guys constantly.
Well, plus when a guy left, what about if a guy didn't sign with the Gophers originally? What if Quinn Carroll, for instance, had signed somewhere else on his second opportunity? Can you imagine how many threats he would have received for never having a chance to get a job in Minnesota?
Well, the abuse would have been legendary. It would have been great. Are you kidding?
So I was talking to Marty Morgan, the old wrestling guy, who's got a successful real estate operation. And he's got one of the guys selling for him is Trevor Laws, the kid from Apple Valley who went to Notre Dame.
Yeah, nose tackle.
He was one of the famous guys that I talked to.
That's right.
I talked to a couple of times. He was one of the famous guys that Sid told him he might as well never come back to Minnesota again if he didn't sign with it. That was Sid had to be near the end of the line there as far as calling up and threatening guys. But he had to be in his 90s by the time he was threatening Trevor Laws with never getting it.
I think that was the early Brian Kelly, for one of the first three or 4 years of Brian Kelly, who, by the way, I didn't see the clip, but I saw a quote from Brian Kelly. He must have been trying to defend his switching of accents, and he said, "I'm from Boston. We don't have deep accents in Boston." Really?
In Boston, we don't have deep accents.
That was his defense, is that we don't have. I'm not switching my accent. We don't have deep accents in Boston.
Why can't coaches just say, "Caught me"? You got
my
me.
Family.
My family.
You caught me. Oh,
you got me. Why can't
dang it?
Why can't you have a little fun with it? Although he doesn't strike me as a guy who would have fun with anything that reflected humorously on him. I don't think he wants to be a humorous figure. So.
Hey, we can get more into.
He was cackling when they blew the lead in the Cotton Bowl.
I think he was. I think he probably loved that.
The
Fiesta Bowl, wasn't it?
I get confused.
Yeah. So we'll do more Viking stuff with you. Once we get a news cycle, but in a week from now, so it'll be Wednesday, January 12th. It'll be 2 days after Black Monday in the NFL. What do you think we'll be talking about in a week from right now as it pertains to the Vikings, Pat?
Are they going to hire a general manager before they hire a coach? That's what I will. And what kind of authority? What kind of a job is Spielman going to have? What is this job that they have given him? What is that going to be? Because what kind of influences? Those will be your topics. What kind of influence is Spielman going to have? Where will they get George Patton back to come back from Denver? And who's the coach is going to be? But I think I'm also concerned that the Wilfs will panic and think they got the guy like they thought they had with Chile, and interview a guy for an hour and get enamored with him and try to hire the coach before they do the rest of the stuff. I'm afraid of that. That they're gonna panic and think they got the right coach and they're gonna hire him, and then they're gonna redo the organization. And I'm not 100% sure Spielman's gone. I think he's a very manipulative fellow who can.
Yeah. Hey, I think you're scratching your microphone there, Pat.
Really? Oh, excuse me. Yeah,
it's okay.
I don't
want to miss any of your Spielman takes here. So you think he'll?
I just touched the computer on the side, and it's very sensitive here.
Very sensitive. Do you think like all these sports organizations are now just like making up chief blank like
yes.
Derek Falvey is the chief baseball officer? Couldn't they just give Rick Spielman like some made up, like, you're the chief draft officer, you get to keep your big draft board, and you can throw your input in, and you'll.
Sometimes though, they're kicking these guys upstairs and giving them these titles just to get them out of loyalty and get them out of the way. But Falvey's case, what they did was confuse us. and so then Levine was the general manager. That was the title he got, and everybody's gone with this Falvine thing for years here. It's Falvey's operation. Falvey makes all the major decisions, but we get him off the hook for some of the failures by saying Falvine. You know, everybody thought that was pretty funny, pretty cute to be the Falvine, but he's as much in charge as Terry Ryan was when he was the general manager or vice president of whatever. So he's, you know, and Spielman. So there's a difference between the title that is giving to you to get you out of the way, and the title that has you running the operation. There's a definite difference there. So
speak to the Dunkers. That should be Rick's title. Your title is Vice President of Speaking to Dunkers. Once every 6 months. That's all we want you to do. Spread the message of the Vikings.
It will be interesting to see if they get a general manager who actually talks to the media on a regular basis, the local media on a regular basis, because he is, he's got her down now where he does the bye week and the draft week things and
the combine.
Beyond that, the combine. Beyond that, he doesn't do regular sessions like a lot of people do. I don't know. There's the Gutekunst kid over in Green Bay.
I don't think he talks much
either, right?
No.
And then Murphy likes to talk. The president's over there, so he thinks he played and he thinks he's a football genius. But
and Rick says nothing too, Pat.
It is kind of. In baseball, they talk more, but in football, the poor old coach is left out there to answer all these questions, right? I mean, Zim should be getting some help here, shouldn't he, at this time when they're,
he clearly thinks so, too.
Huh?
He clearly thinks so, too.
Yeah, I don't know. They haven't talked to me. I haven't talked to anyone. The coach shouldn't have to, especially in that sport, shouldn't have to answer for everything, should he? I don't know.
I think if you're Zimmer and it's a little quiet on the home front the last few weeks, I think you can probably take that as a sign. Like if you're not involved in those meetings,
but shouldn't you let him know? Now, for instance, when Patino got fired, he knew Coyle let him know a couple of weeks ahead of time at least, right? I mean, the guy was lining up the New Mexico. He got the New Mexico. He was announced as the New Mexico coach the day after.
Yeah,
it was announced he was done here. They gave him a heads up. I think you should give a guy a heads up, right? There's nothing wrong with.
Also, if you give him a heads up, it allows you to, for these last 2 weeks, interview new candidates if you want to too.
Yes.
So the fact that they haven't given him a heads up is more of a sign that they don't really know what they're going to do yet.
Did they change that rule? Did they say that had something to do with COVID or something that they?
No,
I think it's just because there's guys Eric Bieniemy is a recent example. There's guys that
when they advance,
they just get so entrenched in they keep advancing. If you can get out in front of it before the playoffs,
is there a chance he interviews poorly? I don't know.
Who the Jags aren't even talking to. He's not on their list. Bieniemy's not on their list.
Well, he seems a little bit like Mike Zimmer interviewed for 4 jobs and didn't interview well. He kind of seems like offensive Mike Zimmer, maybe a little too abrasive. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be. I don't think Zim would come in and kiss enough hiney to get a job. But I think if the Jacksonville Jaguars aren't interviewing you, you're doing you a favor. That's what I think.
Yes.
I think that's a messed up operation.
Yeah, if that's the only job offer you get and you're 53 years old, you almost have to take it. So you'd rather just.
Are they really going to get away with not paying Urban Meyer because he had a young woman sit on his lap in the bar he owned? I mean, I can't. It was certainly untoward, but I don't think you can get away with not paying the guy. Do you?
Probably not.
I don't think that would be. Yeah, there's got to be other
things.
They're
saying they fired him with cause and they're not going to pay him. So.
Yeah, I think they're him kicking the kicker at practice. They're probably trying to put together 5 or 6 different things, but I don't know. I think if he's just a jerk, it's tough to justify not paying his contract.
We screwed up badly. He's a raving egomaniac and a Letcher, so we're not going to pay him. No, you pay him.
Shad Khan is not good. I mean, he doesn't know what he's doing out there. So I think that's part of the problem too. They're just clueless.
Trevor Lawrence probably wishes he'd pulled a Peyton Manning and said, "I'm not going to go sign there. I'm not going to sign there."
Elway, right?
Else, huh?
Elway.
Right?
Well, Eli did it. Yeah.
Elway. Was it? Did Peyton do it too? Peyton
I think.
wouldn't
I mean, Eli did it for sure. Eli
No,
said, "I'm not
Peyton
going to play
didn't
for
do
the Chargers."
No,
I thought one of them wouldn't go to San Diego. Who wouldn't go to?
That was Eli.
Eli.
Oh, okay. Excuse me.
Yep.
Now, they tell me I haven't watched the Manning Monday night thing, but Eli's got personality.
He's pretty funny. Yeah, he
It's
told.
interesting because he was a boredom of all time. I mean, Peyton was always more interesting in post-game interviews than Eli was.
Yeah, he told they had Aaron Rodgers on in the fourth quarter on Monday, and at one point Eli said something like, "Aaron, are you done faking the foot injury?" Like he just throws these little zingers.
That was for some reason I ended up covering that Super Bowl in the when he beat the Patriots in Arizona. I wasn't covering many then, but I ended up landing that one. That's one of the most shocking results I've ever had in covering an event, that the Giants beat that team, the unbeaten team. And the Giants the Vikings had beat them bloody on November 30th, right? That season. I mean, weren't they 10-6 or something like that? The Giants, they limped into the playoffs and they beat them. The Patriots could do nothing with their pass rush. It was a phenomenal event to cover.
Yep, and now and now every team, including the Vikings, says, "Well, if Eli in 2007 can do it, then let's pay our mediocre quarterback $35 million too. It'll be great."
Where did I though? I was thinking about this yesterday as we're looking for places for Cousins to go. The Browns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that last night on
because
Purple After Dark.
Stefanski might have a relationship with him, and they're ready to let Baker go.
He's better than Baker. Yeah.
Well, but they gave Baker a huge contract, right?
No.
So,
they have not given him an extension.
So would you take him back here? Would you make Baker for Cousins trade?
Declan brought that up last night.
If I get a first round pick from the Browns, I will.
I want nothing to do with Baker.
But maybe a second rounder.
But I wouldn't. But yeah,
so Baker's only got like a year left or something.
Yeah, his 5th-year option was picked up. So no matter what, someone's going to have to pay him that. I think it's $19 million for the 5th-year option. So he'll get that money no matter what.
I think I'd take that trade.
I think I would too.
I mean, if you get desperate and nobody else really wants him,
Yeah.
Because and you always. Here's one of the other shocking events in Minnesota sports is, what did you think the odds were when the Timberwolves traded Kevin Love to Cleveland, that he'd still be there 8 years later? Because everybody said, well, he wants to go to the West Coast. He's going to try to win it with LeBron and get the hell out of there. And he's now the wily old veteran who loves Cleveland. What the
and now they're better than the Lakers.
They're good.
Now there's a better chance LeBron goes back to Cleveland.
That's right. LeBron might say, I want to get back to Cleveland. But I saw an interview with him on NBA Network or something. Love a couple days ago, and I love Cleveland, and it's great to be the wily veteran on this team, and we have so much young talent. And I'm going, how did he end up staying there? It's amazing to me. Yeah. He was going to be there. He wants to go to LA. He doesn't want to be in Minnesota anyway. He wants to go to LA. He won't accept the trade to Cleveland even to win the title. And now he's still there.
Loves it. He loves it. Midwestern guy now. He's probably spent more time in the Midwest than almost anywhere else. All right, Pat, we got to run, but we'll catch you on Friday, sir.
All right. See you, gentlemen.
All right. That's Rapping with Reusse, Mackey, and Judd in the SKOR North YouTube channel.